She strapped? Alright. Got my little family here. Two back there acting crazy, y'all. She don't like being in her car seat, y'all. I think she don't like being restricted. Mommy, what you think it is?
Yeah, I definitely think that's what it is. She don't like to be bound down by anything, so she don't even like the blanket on her, to be honest. Oh, baby, you sleepy? You got some pretty eyes. I do not think the video camera shows how brown and beautiful your eyes are. She's so relaxed. I'm massaging that foot. And just like that, she's asleep. Like Daddy-O do.
I just try to get as much information as possible.
Yes,
and
ma'am. We appreciate it.
oh yeah, if it's something we don't need, it's something we don't need.
Hi there, I heard you have a little baby.
Hey, yes we do. This is 7.
All right. Hello, 7 who's got her head turned that way.
She wants to sleep today.
And 7's how old now?
She is almost 1 month old.
Okay. No one thinks they're coming to the dentist when they're almost 1 month old. So
Yes.
here we have some teeth, and we'll take a look at them.
Okay.
So she is nursing well.
Yes, she is.
Taking about some.
Well, we haven't fully introduced the bottle just yet. I offered it maybe one time, and she did okay for just a few seconds. Now the pacifier, we have been full force for the last 2 weeks with the pacifier, and we offer it mainly when she's fussy, and also to eliminate her from trying to overeat and just being on me to nurse, because I think that's what it is pretty much. She wants to just be on me. So she's been doing great with that. She also has the clicking that we would hear on my right breast when she nursed. I don't hear it as much, do you, babe?
No, not as much.
So she's definitely growing to opening up her mouth for the right breast. This one is very, my letdown is real strong. And the left one is not as strong, but I do get the same amount of milk out of both breasts. And I'm an overproducer, so a lot of milk is coming to her. Yeah.
Much of it is hormonally driven right now, so the overproduction will be normal at this stage in the breastfeeding journey. What we will need is for Miss 7 to be able to keep up, to keep your supplies. At some point, your supply is going to regulate, and it's going to be her ability to transfer milk that's going to keep your supply going. Are you currently working with a lactation consultant?
We do have a lactation consultant, and we have our second meeting with them. I think it's actually this week. So the first meeting, they gave us kind of a plan about positioning her, whether we wanted to do the cradle hold, the football hold, or kind of have her upright. And 7 is more comfortable being kind of in that cradle hold with the boppy underneath, so that support pillows underneath me. And then because I'm overproducing, I feel like I have seen a big change in my breast milk, because you can see the breast milk will be all up here, but what I do now is I nurse her and I try to time it and take her off in the middle of feeding to burp her, and then if she wants to, I put it back on. She normally wants to. And we just want to make sure no tongue ties. I don't know if you would be the person to kind of assess that, but no tongue ties, and just the teeth are raw for us.
So we'll do 7's exam, and then I'll give you feedback on those areas. Some of it sounds very typical of a newborn at this stage.
What about other teeth? What if you see other teeth in here? What's the next steps for that type of thing?
So typically when we see new teeth, it's the lower front ones that come in. They're usually not completely formed, completely developed. If I don't think that they're truly an aspiration risk, I'd like to leave them as long as possible. At this stage, we would not use local anesthesia, so to numb the area, I would probably use ice or cold compress to extract them if necessary. But I try to leave them as long as we can to allow for more root development. So usually the teeth start to come in around 6 or 7 months or so, and that time certainly in utero, and then those early months of life, the teeth are continuing to develop. So once they come in, they do have a certain amount of stability where there are roots that are formed. When they come in this early, a lot of times they're not anchored as well, so they tend to be mobile. Also, the enamel may not have formed quite as well as they come in because they came in early. Let's take a look.
All right, let's switch. Because I know, because you want to be involved, and I'm better at the filming part, you know.
Look at this little doll. It's almost your 1-month birthday. Let's see, Miss 7. I'm going to look peacefully. I'm actually going to do the tethered oral tissues exam as well, since they have concerns about oral restriction. So extra oral will make a note that we have lip blisters on the upper and lower lip. And Owen Pier here. Alright, cheeks are within normal limits. The lip is class 3 with restriction. And you said that lip does flange out.
It
She's at
does.
the breath.
Yeah, she's starting to do it now. In the beginning, the first few weeks, several weeks actually, it did not flange. She would have it tucked in.
Okay.
But as you can see, it's healing a little bit, and she's starting to open up more, even with taking the pacifiers.
Okay. The palate is broad and normal, slight bubble shape at the midline. Good deal. Okay. Good lateral movements. Good. To the right and the left, noted. And then the tongue is class 4 with a slight anterior insertion. Okay. So that's her frenum attachment, or her tongue frenum under there, the lingual frenum. There are ones in the cheeks also that I can feel, and they feel fine. And then the one for her lip up here, restricted. Functionally, you mentioned that she's doing really nicely with the lip flanging, so I'm not recommending a release there at all. Cheeks feel great. Under her tongue, a little bit tight, but I'm always going to defer to a lactation consultant or other provider who does a functional assessment on the appropriateness of a release in that area. When I look at the quality of 7's enamel here, I'm going to get the light on just a little bit more. And I'll gently touch them areas. Let's make a note that we have class 3 mobility. With ONC. And enamel is healthy and typical in development. They're partially erupted. Alright. Fantastic. And up we go.
Right, you did wonderful.
So when I look at the teeth look normal and healthy. They are partially erupted, so they're not completely in. And you can see that gum tissue around them moving with them. Yes, they're loose, but I don't think they're going to spontaneously come out on their own. So I think they're stable enough that we can continue to monitor them for some time to wait for more development. And then if we choose to extract the teeth because they just don't seem stable, then that's great. Today does not need to be the day. It's just not time. As long as you can tolerate it with breastfeeding, we're going to leave those teeth as long as we can.
Okay, so she's waiting on her milk to come down. You did good.
As far as we asked about tongue ties or lip ties, we're with her lip, there is some restriction there, but functionally it sounds like it is flanging out appropriately to get a good seal. The flicking sometimes can be associated with oral restriction, but again, it's not cause and effect. It's just a correlation where if you have lots and lots of symptoms that are all pointing to it, that makes a strong likelihood that it could be it. So I do want you to work with your lactation consultant to see if they truly think functionally the tongue has a restriction that would warrant a release of the tongue.
Okay.
And we do frenectomies here, we use a laser. So we would use topical anesthesia, and then we do the release with the laser. It takes less than a minute, so it's pretty fast. The question is always, is it appropriate?
Okay.
So structurally, I look at it as a surgeon. Can I treat it? Absolutely, I can. I see it. It's there. It appears that there is some restriction, but the question is, functionally, is the restriction impacting Seven's ability to feed right now?
Okay. She would have potentially have a procedure to where you would, I guess you could say, cut it to make it more available to her. Okay.
So that string that's under her tongue that I pushed
Yes,
down so
ma'am.
you could see, you would use a laser. It's called ablation, but it's basically cutting into it so that it opens up. She has more range of motion to be able to elevate her tongue to the roof of her mouth, lateralize, and be able to extend.
Okay. With that being said, sometimes, and it could just be because she's a newborn and I don't know the answer, but sometimes her tongue, she has it attached to the roof of her mouth a lot. Is that because of lack of, I guess, room?
Oh, that's great. That's actually what we want. We want it to rest on the roof of the mouth. So just kind of sitting here when you're not speaking, your tongue should rest on the roof of your mouth. And every time you swallow, the tongue should make contact with the roof of your mouth. So for us, we're not growing anymore, but for babies and children that are growing, that's important. That constant contact actually molds and shapes the upper jaw and makes it wider. Sleeping, it should kind of be resting on the roof of the mouth.
Okay, I noticed. I was like, okay, is she okay? Any questions?
So I guess you've been explaining it, but I've just been feeling it, so I'm hearing it but not really understanding it. Good job, baby. So her tongue basically could possibly need to have a laser to kind of cut through it to get more range of motion. And if we don't do that, like, what are some of the potential harms that can happen with the baby?
So if it's not treated, and there are plenty of adults who have oral restriction that's never been treated, so they get to adulthood just fine, and they learn to compensate. So sometimes that looks like learning to speak around an impediment, learning to speak around restriction. Sometimes their eating is not the same, so they may learn to avoid foods that they just can't navigate. At this stage, it's more so nursing that we're focused on. When we get a little bit older, into the toddler phase, we're looking at Seven's ability to be able to move food to where it should be. These are all things that we do without thinking about it instinctually. So in order for you to be able to chew your food, you actually have to move it to where it should be so your teeth can really chew it. Some of the things we look at in dentistry are certainly the ability to self-cleanse. We don't think about the fact that we have some food stuck in the corner of our mouth and we use our tongue to get up there to self-cleanse it. So people who have oral restriction tend to be more prone to cavities and to gum disease just because they are not able to self-cleanse. And then of course for overall development, we want the tongue resting on the roof of the mouth so we have a nice broad palate. If we have really high narrow palate, sometimes that can play into airway challenges. So these are all things that could happen. It's not necessarily cause of death, but these are things that could, in addition to the speech, not being able to pronounce certain words. Again, we're always looking at, what we're seeing, is it impacting function? So absolutely, structurally, we can do it, but it's inappropriate.
I got another question to follow up, sorry. Knowing that we kind of caught this early, and it may be a need to do it, and it may not, depending on what the lactation people say, right? But if they say there's a need to do it, when's like an optimal time for us to actually do that procedure? Would it be 1 year old? Would it be right now? Right now?
Yeah. Typically as soon as possible. So what they'll do is they do a lot of sophisticated analyses and look at her function, certainly how the tongue moves, they're also looking at Seven's body. So if they're identifying any tightness anywhere else, they may have you do some body work or work with craniosacral therapist to work out any additional tightness so that she is ready for the release. The way we think of it is if there's anything else that's underlying that could be a challenge, she may not benefit from the release as much as if we resolve any other issues before we do the release of the tongue.
Okay.
That
And
was
then
my question.
when we go to the lactation consultants, what exactly do we say or ask them so that we know that they're assessing her the way that they need to assess her based off what you tell us?
So share with them what you're finding as far as symptoms, and that she came to the dentist so that we can evaluate her teeth. You also asked about some tie or lip tie and identified the tightness of her lip, but I also shared that functionally she seems to be doing nicely based on your report. The same thing for her tongue. If it's helpful for me to write a letter to your lactation consultant,
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because, I don't want them to blow over because this could be like a very severe thing, and I just want to make sure we not communicating effectively so that they take the proper steps to make sure that she's okay. You know, and we get the green light to get it done if we have to get it done. So.
Okay. Let's do a letter. Lactation consultant with our findings and just ask you if they think that if they can do a functional assessment to identify if any restriction is impacting function.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Funny.
You're welcome.
So I know you probably get this question about your last name all the time. But I mean, how does it make you feel to have that last name? And like, is there a story behind it at all?
Well, it's many generations of funnies, all from
Oh,
South
really?
Carolina and then before across the ponds.
Okay.
But all the funnies I know of are from South Carolina.
Wow.
So what's interesting is like we have cousins that we'll hear about that are like all their roots are right from Georgetown, South Carolina, and
Oh.
Charlotte or Columbia, but it's all South Carolina. But what's interesting is my mother taught young children, so she taught kindergarten and pre-K for years, her whole career.
Oh man.
My brother calls his family the Funny Bunch now, which is the name of her class that she is. So it's my maiden name, but I shouldn't say to keep it professional.
Oh yeah,
I
for
like
sure.
it.
Yeah. It's funny that most of the patients don't really get into it, but the parents really already use.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a very cool last name. I
Thank
mean,
you.
and just to
Thank
be
you.
like an elementary school teacher, I know they thought,
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Messing with her
she
every
really,
day.
really enjoyed it.
yeah, that's amazing. Did we get a chance to talk through like her tongue being white and how we clean it?
So
I
with
might have
that,
zoned out.
I think that's normal.
Okay.
I think what you're saying is normal. I don't want you to focus on brushing it all.
Okay.
In theory, we would say start brushing Seven's teeth because they're in, but really you're not introducing anything else that's going to be causing cavities. We know the breast milk does have some natural sugars in it, and that's fine. So if you wanted to brush with a toothbrush, but not toothpaste at this point, I think that is fine. So for the average patient, we recommend starting with a tiny smear of toothpaste or toothpaste on the brush and brushing with it. That's usually around 6 or 7 months. She's really early. I just don't think that's absolutely necessary at this point. So if you really want to brush, you can brush with a toothpaste without anything right now.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I'm not
Alright.
trying to make a bigger habit at this point.
Okay. I believe that's it. I'm very happy. I like how the visit was today. Of course, I was nervous, but being here with you today really settled my thoughts on the next steps for her, and we will meet with lactation this week. So, thank you again to you and your team.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for saying that. Again, if you have any additional questions that come up between now and Seven's next visit, please let us know.
Okay.
You can email us or call us.
Okay, wonderful.